high power consumption. I kind of think it feels like a spaceship. Like it should be like... Hey, what's up? John Charette here, and today we are reviewing the brand new, came out last week, Zotac 4080 GPU. Stay tuned, we'll do a quick unboxing. I will put it in my system, see how well it fits, compare it to a 3090 Ti and the 4090 to kind of see where it fits in the middle and see if what the benchmarks look like. Stay tuned. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching. This is all about new technology, and usually I like to talk about kind of the pricing and how that works all together. So, if you have been living under a rock and you haven't been following the new NVIDIA 4000 series release, the 4090s were released about a month and a half ago. Check out my videos here. I have done the Founders Edition, the MSI Supreme Air Cooled, and the 4090 Supreme Liquid Cooled. So next on the list, the 4080 series. It was just released. And so thankfully, thanks to a friend, he let me borrow this Zotac that I can open up, review, and share it with you. So yeah, I mean, let's get this thing opened. Now, before I get started, I mean, what's your opinion of Zotac? I mean, from what I hear from the industry, I've never used one myself, but they're on the lower end as far as a price point. But do you feel they're a lower level quality? Right? You compare it to an Asus or to an EVGA back when they made GPUs. I have heard from two different people that they had Zotac's card and absolutely loved them. So please leave a comment below and let me know what you think about Zotac, the brand in general, and if you've had good or bad experiences with them. And then we'll see how this one is. Certainly isn't as mind-boggling. Love gaming, power the win. Okay, cool. That might be their tagline. I don't even know what this is. Okay. All right. Okay. There's the card. It's actually in a bubble wrap, which is interesting. Here, let me take that out first. This is a card holder, I'm guessing. This is, yeah, it looks like a, yeah, something you put in your case to kind of hold it up. Cards, at least from my experience, both the EVGA and all this MSI, even the Founders Edition, they've reinforced them so well now. A 3/8-pin connector, and some RGB, it looks like. Interesting. It's the first time I've seen an actual RGB connector. Huh, let's figure out where that goes. All right, this I don't need right now. Let's get rid of this box. Okay, let's look at the card itself. As I said, kudos to Zotac. It's actually in a nice bubble wrap. Okay. If you haven't seen the design, I like it. It has more of a futuristic, I kind of think it feels like a spaceship. Like it should be like, kind of taking off, and then this is like an exhaust port at the back where it's just like something like that. But yeah, I think it's something different. I'm glad that Zotac decided to change their design, just like Asus this year. They decided to finally change the design, whereas NVIDIA and even the MSI card, it looked very similar. So what do we have here? High power consumption. Please use a separate power cable for each power connection to maintain voltage stability. What they mean by that, let me put this down for a moment and pull this card out, the adapter out. So your adapter has 3 8-pin. When your 8 pins come off the power supply, a lot of the cables have, I'll show you one maybe, hold on. Okay, example. Here's power supply cable. One end connects to the power supply, and this one here is for, well, either one, connects into the cable here. Maybe it's this side. So definitely this side. Okay, example. This end goes into your power supply, this end here. What they're saying is don't daisy chain them like this. Okay, so technically that's sharing the same power. So if you can, get a single cable like this, or just don't use the pigtail. And then put 3 separate runs. Now, I think they're just being extra cautious. I just ran all of those 4090s on, I did 3 rails, and so one of them was shared. I have a feeling it'll be okay. But like I said, that is the manufacturer's recommendation, and I know they said the same thing. It's way too bright in here. High power consumption. So here, let me take that off. Ew. Tiny little bit of sticky residue. Yeah, you see that? You see that? Look at that. All this air, light, there we go. Sticky residue, all from the sticker. Fail. Okay. What else is going on with this card? Okay, so you can see here, there's your 12-pin connector. Okay, and there is a button here. Interesting, it's like there's a power button on the card. I do not know what that's for. I will check that out later. Yeah, other than that, I mean, the card looks pretty cool. Standard 3 fans. It's long. I would say it's just as long as the MSI air-cooled, like that. I don't see where you use this little dongle thing just yet, but okay. I mean, so far, it's pretty cool, clean. Like I said, I do enjoy the design. What I will be checking is, if you haven't seen one of my other videos, I tried to power the 4090 using the 12-pin cable that came with my 850 watt power supply, my Lianli SFX power supply that goes in this case. And it wouldn't work, but it did work fine with the 3090 Ti. So, being that this is similar power draw with a 3-pin cable, similar to the 3090 Ti, I'm curious if it'll work. So that is one thing that I will definitely be testing. So let me grab the case now, and we'll slap it in, and then yeah, we'll give it, we'll see if it powers up and see if we can get it to post. All right, but before I do that, let's compare the size of the 4080 to the 3090 Ti. So let's grab this here. Okay, now this is the EVGA 3090 for the win. Now EVGA is known for having a short card. At the top here, you can probably see we're significantly short. We're 2.5 inches shorter. Thickness wise, we're about the same. So if I change this, you see this, they're about three card slot cards, but it's really about the length. And yeah, the size difference is pretty significant. pretty significant. So, I mean, other than that, they look the same. The Zotac's a tiny little bit taller because of this top shroud piece. But yeah, let's see how it fits in that way into the Lianli O11D Mini. Okay, I think this card is longer than 4090 MSI Supreme. I'll have to go look at video footage because I don't have that card anymore. I've sold it. But yeah, from what I'm looking at it, I mean, there's still, you know, 2 inches clearance here at the end of the case, but it is definitely longer. So let's see if I can plug in. Aha. Okay, cool. 12-pin connector in. Let's see if I can get this working. Okay. I have connected, there's a monitor down here that'll check. I'll get some footage to see if it posts, but if you haven't seen any of my other 4090 videos, you know that the 4090 won't post using this cable here that comes from the Lianli power supply, which connects back to 2 8-pin spots on the power supply. I was hoping that the cable was going to be similar to the new Corsair one, which is rated for 600 watts that you can be used, but it's not. But because it works really well for the 3090 Ti, I hope it will work for this one. So let's see if we have power and go. All right, okay, cool. Let's see if I can get this a little bit closer. Okay. So that didn't really help a whole lot with the light. Anyway, this is pretty nice across here. You know, you can see when I put a shadow. Good. I'll get some B-roll. I'll play it how it looks. The card did not post. So I will, as I was doing with the 4090s, I have another power supply that I was daisy chaining that I'll connect and to really do some benchmarking. But this is another fail for Lianli with their power supply and in the SFX version. So stay tuned. I'm now going to take this downstairs, reconnect it, do some benchmarks, come back and see how it compares to the 3090 Ti and to the 4090. Where does it sit in that range? So stay tuned, be right back. I'm back. So I've had this card in my system for the entire week, which included a few late night rounds of Warzone 2 and even a good session of Overwatch 2 with my coworkers. Now, hey, if you're liking this video, please leave me a thumbs up. It really helps grow the channel. All right, now on to the benchmarks. I'll post them here. As you can see, this card falls directly in between 3090 Ti and a 4090. The only exception was the Port Royal, where the 4090 just absolutely kills it, probably because of the additional VRAM. That being said, the 4080 is a really strong performer. All right, let's talk overclocking. Surprisingly, this card did extremely well when comparing to the 4090. If you haven't seen one of my other videos for the 4090, it only overclocked 1 to 3%, where this 4080, I was able to get more 3 to 6% increased boost. And with the biggest one in Warzone 2, with like an 18% boost in average frame rates. All right, now you're asking what OC settings did I use? Well, like I say, this card has a soft power limit of 320 watts. But if you increase that up, you can get up to 352 watts. Now, usually what I do is I increase the core count, bit by bit, about 50 megahertz at a time. I was able to get it up to 250 increase from the stock settings, and it stayed pretty stable. At that point, I started to increase the VRAM. I was able to get the VRAM up to plus 1500 megahertz, which is pretty outstanding. I did have a couple situations in the later benchmarks, such as TimeSpy and Port Royal, where it froze at 1500 megahertz on the VRAM and I lowered it down to 1400. So maybe your card's a bit, I'll post the settings down below in the description, but try it out. Every card will be a little bit different. Now let's talk cost. There's a lot of controversy right now about the 4080s and them being overpriced. Now looking at this card, it's the OC variant, which is priced at about $1250 USD, in comparison to a 4080 FE Founders Edition, which is priced at $1200. So for 50 bucks more, you get an AAB card, which is probably the cheapest of all the AAB cards out there. The question comes is when you compare it to a Founders Edition 4090, which is at 1600 bucks. Is it worth paying the extra $350 for the 4090? I don't know. It's really tough. I mean, back in the 3000 series day, I always say that the 3080 was the best bang for your buck because the 3090 was almost twice as expensive. Now, if you can go from a 4080 to a 4090 for 350 bucks, kind of leaning team 4090. Now it does change significantly in the 4080 landscape when you do go to a higher end AAB card such as the Asus ROG. Then the price kind of starts to jump a bit, so it kind of depends on your needs. If you're looking at the lower end, something like a Zotac or a Founders Edition card. Now if you're going for a higher end AAB card like an Asus ROG, the price range starts to grow quite a bit. But looking at the 4080 FE or the Zotac card in the $1,200 range compared to the 4090, it's a pretty close toss-up to go 4090. So it bears the question, is the 4080 overpriced? I mean, looking at sales right now, videocards.com, they put out an article saying that the 4090 is outselling the 4080 by 3.4 times. I mean, the numbers speak true. I mean, I hope they took in consideration the 4090 has been out that much longer than the 4080, but I think for the 4080 to sell, they have to lower the price to get closer to the 3090 Ti, but that may knock the 3090 Ti out of the market completely. But it's older gen, so... Okay, let's talk thermals. Zotac did an incredible job with thermals on this card. I mean, am I surprised considering the card is 14 inches long? But the GPU itself didn't go over 67 degrees Celsius and the VRAM didn't go over 62 degrees. So huge thumbs up to Zotac. When it comes to lighting for the card, Zotac has a software called Firestorm. Firestorm. And I didn't use it before. Like I say, this is my first Zotac card, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It was okay. I mean, it worked, in my opinion, better than the MSI Mystic Light software. Whereas when I changed the light and I didn't have to hit apply, I would change, wait a second, and it would update directly on the card. So it was, it was very intuitive to use and it performed well as far as how quickly it changed the lights. Now it does include a button called OC Scanner that I kind of noticed after I started doing my benchmarking. The idea behind it is that it says it'll take 5-10 minutes and it'll go through and test your card. Well, when I tried it, it took more like an hour and it was neat. I mean, it took the core clock and increased it by 10-15 megahertz increments and then did the same with the VRAM. Now, I left it because it was taking so long and I came back down. I was hoping to have a prompt on screen that says, these are your recommended OC settings, but it was nothing. It's like the application just went back to its default state. So I have no clue how high it went to. I didn't wait around to figure it out, but it certainly took longer than 5-10 minutes. Oh, last bit on the lighting is this cable. This cable that is, I don't know. I'll show you a bit of close-up footage of where this cable is supposed to connect. And I don't know, it looks like you have to take the back plate off to get to it. I still don't really get why they provide this. I mean, you can essentially, it's an ARGB connector. So you can connect this directly to an RGB spot on your motherboard. My guess is so that you can tie it all into the lighting in your case if you're going full RGB. I mean, you could also just do it with the Firestorm software or other applications such as Signal RGB. So yeah, I'm not sure. If anyone knows exactly why or when you would use this thing, please leave a comment down below. Okay, conclusion. This, as I said, this card falls right in between a 3090 Ti and a 4090. I mean, as I said, I would say go Team 4090 if you have the extra cash, but it almost reminds me of a 3070 Ti, where amazing card, but back in the 3070 Ti days, I would just say spend the extra couple $100 and get a 3080. But I realize that not everyone has that extra cash, and so this card may fall right, in your budget price point, in which it's an awesome card. Now, I started this video by asking about Zotac's brand reputation and if you have had any issues with it. Well, I'm happy to say that throughout the week it performed very well. I did notice that it was a bit louder than the other cards I've been testing. It's not horrible, it wasn't making any whining, coil whining, it just felt louder. And I think if you had the case on the side panel on your case, you probably wouldn't even notice it. There was one thing that did stand out. It's this red light. There's a red light at the card. Like, as soon as you look into your computer, you look at the card and there's a red light. I don't know why it's there. I mean, why make it red? Why not make it green? Red is bad. And so every time I looked at it, I go, is there a problem with the card? Is it overheating? What's the deal? And I couldn't figure it out. Like I say, if anybody knows why there's this blasted red light in the card, please let me know. Overall, if you're looking for an AIB card that's got a cool, interesting new design, some lights on it, and performs really well for a very good price point in the 4080 landscape, this Zotac card is right for you. So yeah, 2 thumbs up. I think it was great. Yeah, enjoy. If you like this kind of video, like I said, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.